For today's Pooks post, we'll address how the 1-2 punch of AI plus Google continues to decrease the relevancy of yesteryear's rainmaker attorneys. So let's first point out the age of the rainmaker attorneys, which was really pre-Google, right? And that's how I started when I started out as a lawyer, it was pre-Google, passed the bar in Massachusetts in the year 2000. I remember going to events and just sort of jaw dropped about the rainmakers that would be working the room. These were people, it was like watching a great dancer, okay? Just working a given room, handing out business cards, slapping backs, drinking drinks, laughing, but absolutely generating business. Those rainmaker attorneys, they grew their business by going to those networking events, by speaking everywhere and anywhere, not necessarily literally, but you had attorneys that would be speaking at the local library, local senior center, at a chamber of commerce event, attending all types of charity events and taking out full page ads and ad books, placing ads in white pages, yellow pages, legal directories, being on the radio, being on TV. This is all, of course, pre-internet. And now let's look at where we are here in the mid-2020s when it comes to business development in the legal industry, right? Business development in the legal industry we are going through a revolution, okay? It was an evolution, but 2020 really propelled us from a revolutionary standpoint into the digital era. We call this the 3.0 digital era for the legal industry, where clients are the ones that pulled our industry into this era because clients pivoted, particularly in 2020 when they started. We all as a society became even more reliant on Google, even more reliant on the internet. Now in the mid-2020s, we are becoming more and more reliant on AI to provide us with authority of information, and all that taken together means that when it comes to business development for law firms, lawyers and law firms today need to have advertising and drawing the attention of would-be clients via Google. And they are entering into and generating authority on AI LLMs. They are publishing to multiple channels of social media. Their websites are being regularly updated, and lawyers and law firms are publishing on a regular basis podcasts, YouTube videos, webinars, and then yes, there is old school networking that continues to happen. What we're seeing as a result is the rise of digital rainmakers as compared to old school pre-Google rainmakers, or really what we call that we are now in the age of the vanishing rainmaker, right? That is in the age of the vanishing rainmaker from a then versus now standpoint. Then rainmaker attorneys, those attorneys that I referenced before when I first passed the bar, they would be handing out their cards. People would be asking, who do you know? Oh, let me recommend to you such and such attorney. You have to meet with her because she's the go-to when it comes to fill in the blank practice area. Well, in the age of the vanishing rainmaker, today's clients just totally bypass yesteryear's rainmakers, and they go to Uncle Google and they go to their AI thought partner and they ask, who is the best fill in the blank attorney near me? Said differently, we are now in an age of digital disruption in the legal industry, where just as digital disrupted other industries, and of course, the viewers will have different examples that come to mind, but just to rattle off 3 quick examples that we can all relate to is Amazon to Sears, is Uber to taxi cab medallions, and Netflix to Blockbuster. Well, in the legal industry now, as Google and AI are both disrupting yesteryear's rainmakers, the vanishing rainmakers. And in terms of that 1-2 punch, that is a heavy blow to rainmaker attorneys because they're just becoming less relevant in today's 3.0 digital era for the legal industry. And now let's look at that from the standpoint of the sales of law firms. Because when it comes to selling a law firm, the primary components when it comes to selling a law firm are the book of business. We call them value chips. And those value chips that comprise a book of business are the client list and the referral source list, right? All of the clients that you have worked so hard to generate over the course of your career, as well as referral sources that refer business to you. Those clients and referral sources, they comprise your book of business. Well, if a law firm is not committed to multi-channel digital marketing today, and they're not developing digital value for their law firms, then those all-important value chips of their book of business, their clients and their referral sources, if they are not replenishing as quickly and as well as during the pre-Google word of mouth, what we call the 1.0 word of mouth era for the legal industry, then their law firms are going to become less valuable. So let's look at that from the standpoint of law firm sales 1.0. And law firm sales 1.0, where the book of business is the primary asset of what senior attorney-led firms are selling. Well, if your primary asset, your book of business, is not replenishing as much as it did in yesteryear, then your practice over time is going to be worth less. That's not worthless. It's going to be worth less. And then the question is, worth less to whom? So let's look at who is the primary purchaser of senior attorney-led firms, and those are growing law firms. And growing law firms, they really need three value areas that they want to boost the growth to at any given time. First and foremost, of course, it's clients, right? That is the energy source of all law firms is clients, right? So even if your book of business is decreasing, growing law firms still want and need senior attorney-led firms that present a book of business. The second resource that growing law firms want and need is an experienced workforce. So even if your book of business is not as strong as it was pre-Google, but you have, I should say differently, and you have key employee lawyers, key para staff, that they know the law, they know the clients, they can, from when it comes to the lawyers, they can put up significant billable hours, represent clients in flat fee and contingency type cases. That is tremendously valuable to growing law firms as well. And then thirdly, growing law firms, what do they want and need in today's 3.0 digital era? Is they need more digital content. How is it that senior attorneys add value to that as well? Senior attorney-led firms are literally sitting on treasure chests of subject matter knowledge that today's growing law firms want and need to convert to digital content, to publish to LinkedIn, to Facebook, for e-newsletters, for podcasts, for videos, webinars, and even more as we continue to expand, into this digital era. AI, of course, AI is going to be looking for authority. And when senior attorneys come over with their bios, with their subject matter knowledge, it adds to the AI authority that more and more growing law firms are going to need and crave as the 2020s continue and as we head towards 2030. But it's very significant to point out in terms of this 1-2 punch of AI plus Google and the decreasing relevancy of yesteryear's rainmaker attorneys is that at some point there's a point of no return. That is that if your book of business continues to decrease, that is the primary value of your law firm. And if a growing law firm can generate new cases for less, let's call it money, less consideration, their case acquisition cost is less by publishing to multi-channel digital platforms for generating clients, then they very well may not need a senior attorney-led firm's book of business if it doesn't offer as much value to those firms, because if they can generate it for less money than what Law Firm Sales 1.0 calls for, which is fee sharing on the book of business over a negotiated period of time. And we have started to see that in the marketplace. Some buyers are saying, no thanks. We can generate the clients ourselves for less money than the fee sharing via Law Firm Sales 1.0. And the message to senior attorneys in particular who are not going to, in reality, spend as they probably should in terms of multi-channel digital marketing, that 1-2 punch of AI plus Google, that digital disruption is what we're really talking about. If that digital disruption is impacting your law firm and you're not generating as many new clients as you did in yesteryear, we strongly believe that Law Firm Sales 1.0 will come to an end at some point. Whether that's going to be in the 2020s is left to be seen. Certainly, I think it's going to be in the 2030s, because when law firms can generate new clients for less money than the fee sharing presented by Law Firm Sales 1.0, they're just not going to need senior attorney-led firms' books of business as much as they do now. Hence why we strongly recommend for those law firms that are committed to word of mouth as compared to today's digital era for generating clients digitally, that now is the right time to consider selling your law firm.